Hey, what's up everybody? This is Seth from Seth and Kenny. I'm going to be showing you guys an After Effects tutorial today on motion tracking and optical flares and a little bit of color correction work. The main focuses of this are going to be the optical flares and motion tracking. Anyway, today I'm going to be using Adobe After Effects CS5. It's not 5.5, but it's CS5. This will work on CS4 also if you're still on CS4 and haven't upgraded yet. Anyway, I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to be using a plugin by Video Copilot called Optical Flares. It's $124. There's other ways of getting it. Obviously, it's a program, but it's a plugin. It has really cool flares and light. Very customizable, very much worth the money. It's a very, very cool plugin, probably one of the better ones there are for After Effects. So anyway, let's go to the tutorial. We're going to be creating something like this. Okay, as you saw there, it shows a New York Statue of Liberty aerial scene with a little color correction, an optical flare on the torch, and so that's pretty much using motion tracking, color correction, and the optical flare plugin. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. It's real simple as a beginner tutorial. This can work for almost any scene. For the motion tracking, to put text in a place that you want it to be, to insert a face on someone's head. I mean, motion tracking in this form, it's very simple, very easy to use, and once you learn it one way, you can do it another. So I'm going to have the source files that I used in the description, so you can do this. All you're going to need to do is acquire the Optical Flares plugin, but you don't even need the Optical Flares plugin if you're motion tracking and importing text instead of an optical flare on a different scene. So anyway, let's get back to the tutorial and all business. So we have the Statue of Liberty scene here. It pans around, no effects to it yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new layer, a new null object. What we're going to want to do is we're going to rename this. We're going to call it Tracker. This is going to be the heart of our tracker, and it's going to keep everything in one spot as the camera moves. So you're going to want to click back onto the Statue of Liberty clip. You're going to click Track Motion. You're going to want to check off Rotation and Scale down here. You're going to get 2 track points. This is it needs 2 points in contrast so it can follow them and correspond with each other to figure out how your clip's moving and where to keep the objects at. So what you want to do is you're going to want to click on the inner side of the box, drag it to a high contrast area. The middle of the torch is real bright there, so it's a perfect place. And where I'm going to put track point 2 is I'm going to bring it down here to a high contrast area relative to that. If your point doesn't come with you when you move your box, you just have to come click your point, drag it down to the center, and make sure it's on the black or whatever. See, as you can see around it, nothing else is that color. So that's going to work perfect. You're going to want to make sure you're in the beginning of the clip, and then you want to come down here and you're going to want to hit play. Now this could take a long time, or it could be fast, or it could be any amount of time. It depends how long your clip is and what kind of computer you have. Mine's not going to take too long. It takes about an average of like 20 seconds, I think it is, somewhere around that length, to go through and track this 15-second clip. There's not a lot of movement going on in it, so that's going to help, but I mean, it shouldn't take your computer too long because it is optimized to not have a lot of CPU usage as it goes through and does this. So we'll wait a couple more seconds and this will be done. Okay, now that it's done, as you can see, the blocks here, they're going to go through and run nicely through those points that we made until we want it, and it stays in one spot, which is good. So now we have one more thing to do for the motion tracking. Down here, we're going to have to hit apply, and it's going to apply the dimensions to the null object or the tracker object we made earlier. When you hit apply, it defaults to the top layer of your composition. That's why you want to make sure the tracker's on the top layer. And now when you watch the box over here, it's going to stay perfectly aligned with the tip of that. So now what we want to do is we want to do the optical flare layer. So what we want to do is we want to start a new layer, a new solid object, and you're going to want to make it the comp size. The color doesn't matter. You're going to hit OK, make sure it's on top. You're going to go to Effect, Video Copilot, Optical Flares. Optical Flares is going to show up, and then what you want to do is you want to go to the render mode and do on transparent, and you're going to also want to click the eye for the tracker so we can get rid of that red box, so that's not disrupting us. And now you're going to want to go to options. You can do any light you want, but for this one I'm going to go to natural flares. I'm going to do air missile. I just like the way it looked, and it just looked nice, but I'm going to get rid of this right here, which I'm going to hide there and hide there. You can go through and you can hide all the little parts of it, like you can hide that glow, and it's just this real fine glow if you're doing something real fine and you just want that cool little touch to put on it. That works too. And you can also save the preset and save it as something else so you can go back and use it. Another thing, and you can also change the color of it to make it a different color. But I'm just going to keep it around that color for now. So and then you're just going to hit OK and OK. So now it changes out here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to zoom in, and you're going to want to center it on there. You're going to want to turn the brightness down to something that you want to start out with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with a low brightness, and I'm going to have it progressively get brighter, like you're panning to one spot and it's concentrated at one spot. You're going to get in that spot, and then as you start going away, it's going to start fading again and go to the original, what we're starting out here. So we'll start out here, we'll do about a 30 brightness and keep the scale at 100. What you're going to want to do is you're going to click the stopwatch on brightness and scale. This is going to set a keyframe so it stays that until it gets another change at a certain time. So now we're going to zoom up, let's say to about 5. First you want to go back. I forgot about this. You're going to go to the beginning frame when it's lined up. You're going to want to take this little whip and you're going to want to put it on the tracker. Now that's going to keep it aligned in that position for you. So what you're going to do, let's say at 5 you want it to be bright. That's where you want the brightness peak to be. So you're just going to turn up the brightness. That's a little too bright, and maybe turn down the scale a little bit to make it not so big but make it bright. So what that's going to do is, because we have the keyframe in the front at the original numbers and then we have another one here, what it's going to do is it's going to generally go on a scale, and it's going to slowly get brighter and brighter as we get to that point. And then what I want to do, you don't have to do this, you can keep it bright like that, but let's say by here I want it to be back to that original point. So I'm just going to go to the beginning, see what numbers I had. I had 30 and 100, so I'm just going to go back to the 10-second mark. I'm going to type in 30 and 100 on the brightness and scale, and that's going to put that back. So there's the motion tracking optical flare part. So now what I want to do is I want to get into the color correction of the footage itself. This is an unnecessary part. I'm just adding it on this because I think it looks cool to add, and it makes the optical flare stick out more. So what I'm going to simply do is I'm just going to go to Effect, I'm going to go to Color Correction, Curves. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the RGB, the red, green, and blue, down a little bit, makes it a little bit darker. I'm going to take the blue, I'm going to make the blue stick out a little bit more. So now, as it goes through, it makes that optical flare stick out more. and look really neat. So that's all I have for you guys today for this tutorial. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll make sure that I answer them and see if you need help, and if you do need that help, I will try my best to assist you. So thanks for watching this tutorial, guys. Subscribe and like, and I'll be making more tutorials all the time for you guys. Thanks, guys.